Hi, Cup of Tri, Kit Walker here. Just wanted to check in from my race at Outlaw on the weekend. It was the third time I've been at the event, and what a fantastic event it is. Great crowd support, beautiful course, all set round the lake at Holme Pierre Point. Fantastic that I could have my family there watching me as well. Very happy to take the win on a day where didn't all go my way on the run, but managed to break the 9 hour mark, which was a goal I set myself 2 years ago. And yeah, just wanted to say thank you to everyone that supported me and was there cheering on the day and made it really special. Cheers.
And welcome to the Cup of Tri Triathlon podcast. We got brought in there by Kit Walker, the winner of the Outlaw this weekend.
Congratulations to Kit. What a great win.
Yeah, that was pretty cool and groovy, and great to hear him leaving us a little voice message. Listener of the show, I believe.
He is indeed a listener of the show. So, yeah.
Hello, Kit. Hope your legs aren't too sore. Hope you're walking down the stairs forwards by now.
I'm just about there, Rob, now, walking forward. So it does take a few days, doesn't it, after an Ironman?
10 days. Yeah, it certainly does.
Oh, but no, well done to Kit. And as we were saying just a bit before, it's really easy. If you want to leave a message as well, you can do. You just have to go to oxygenaddict.com/podcast. And then at the top of the page on the right-hand side, there's a little button and it says, leave us a voice message. And you can do that.
So if you're in there, if you're a pro who's just won a race, leave us a message. If you're an age grouper who's just struggled through a race, leave us a message. If you want to say well done to your mate Jack for racing at the weekend, leave us a message and we'll see if we can get some love going on the show for other people.
Correcto.
Right, so let's introduce the show. We've got some sponsors to mention. First sponsor, oxygenaddict.com, triathlon coaching.
With Coach Rob.
We are bikehouse.co.uk.
For all your cycling needs.
And triathlonbox.co.uk.
To keep everything organised in transition.
And great racing weekend we've just had held over in the UK. We've just had, as we mentioned, the Outlaw, which is a non-branded, pretty rare actually, an independent but very big event. So for our foreign listeners, it's really one worth checking out. Very well run, and we'll talk about that a bit later on. We also had Lake Placid in the USA, and we also had Ironman Switzerland, didn't we?
We did have Ironman Switzerland over in Zurich. So, we'll come on to that in a moment after Outlaw.
After the Outlaw. Yeah, let's kick off with that because obviously people in the UK are well aware of it and people outside of the UK may not be. So it's not branded by one of the big manufacturers of events, but it is a big event. I think they had, how many people were racing? It was over 1,000, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Held at the National Water Sports Centre in Nottingham. So we've got a kind of Olympic rowing lake, 2 kilometres long, and it makes for a nice out and back swim, an Ironman swim with one turnaround.
Can't get too lost. And I saw someone say that there were markers, quite a lot of markers, so it made it easier.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, you don't want to try and swim 2K in a straight line, do you? Even in a rowing lake. And the nice thing about this one is, I mean, the UK is renowned for its tough courses and hilly courses and rough road surfaces and stuff, but they've done a good job of putting a race together in a pretty iconic location, but it also takes advantage of some time trial road courses in the local area, which makes the bike course, while it's not flat, it makes for some good fast riding if the wind plays ball, and it certainly did that this weekend, didn't it?
Oh, it really did. Some pretty blistering times, and I know on the female course record was broken, wasn't it? So yeah, it really was quite a fast weekend.
It was indeed. So let's start with the ladies' results first, shall we? First up, we had the win and a course record from Alison Wilson from Portsmouth Triathletes, and she went 9:45.
Yeah, that's good. So new course record. I think Vicky Gill had the previous course record, who's now gone pro.
Oh, good knowledge.
So
good knowledge.
Yeah, that's absolutely blistering. And she had about a half an hour cushion on Susan Fairfax, who was second from Crystal Palace Triathletes in 10:16. And then again a fairly decent gap to third, who was Helen Jones from Exeter Tri in 10:58.
Yeah, and I tell you what, we usually look at the delta, don't we? And we think there's about an hour between the men and the women at an Ironman. It's only 45 minutes on this one, so that goes to show the kind of standard of performance Alison has put out there. Pretty darn impressive, because winner of the men's race went a couple of minutes under 9 hours, and that's a legit performance there, isn't it? Because I don't think the course record is much faster than that. I think the course record is low 850s, isn't it, with Joel Jameson?
Yeah, that's right. And I saw somewhere.
Right in thinking that?
Yeah, because I think they were saying, oh, it could be on a course record, and then I saw somewhere that they said, oh, Joel, your record's safe.
8:47 apparently the course record. So yeah, good stuff like that.
Fab. So over on the men's side, it was won then by Kit Walker, in 8:58. Joe Beach was second, 9:13, and then Dean Edwards in 9:16 took third. And Rob, I'll admit right now, Dean Edwards is a friend of mine, and I'm so happy for him to get on that podium.
And Edwards' son, is that right? She's always sending us tweets, isn't she?
Yeah, Annette Edwards helps us out on Facebook sometimes to spread the word of the podcast.
Nice.
Yeah, and Annette, I think, she was fourth at Ironman UK the other weekend, in her age group. And so it's brilliant for her son Dean to get on that podium. Absolutely delighted for him.
That's ace, isn't it? Being a triathlete in your 20s and having your mum nearly podiuming at Ironman races. That's brilliant.
She podiumed in Staffordshire. She won her age group.
Oh, brill.
Yeah. So she's a decent one in the 50s.
Decent one, I like that.
She is. She's blooming inspiring.
And we've got Dean Edwards lined up for an interview, as well as hopefully Kit Walker lined up for a full interview as well. So I'm going to try and track down Alison Wilson and see if we can get an interview with her, because that's a very, very fast time in the ladies as well. That'd be cool. We could have an outlaw special.
There you go. Get on it, Rob. Get on it.
Anyone knows Alison, put us in contact. Or Alison, if you're listening, get in contact. The other thing worth mentioning here is the course record went for the team race as well, Hells.
Yeah.
7:47.
That's good, isn't it?
It's good.
Not as good as Jan Frodeno, is it?
It is very, very good.
That's really impressive.
What I was going to say was, it's amazing that you put three rock stars together. I had the details up a minute ago about who it was who did this, and basically the rock star swimmer, time trialist, and runner, and go 7:47, and you go, wow, that's damn fast. And then you think, well, Joe Skipper did only a few minutes slower than that on his own at Roth last week.
Yeah,
so
it was Rob. It was Sam Dickinson, who's an elite junior triathlete, Ryan Perry, who's a time trialist, and Stuart Spencer. And the previous course record was 8:01. So they walloped that.
Yeah, good stuff.
There you go. I like the team name as well, KGF Dream Team.
It's cool.
Yeah.
And we should shout out as well. We've got an interview with Joe Skipper coming on later on in the show. We managed to get him on, and we've got, man, the boy can talk. He can talk nearly as long as he rides for, mate. We've got like nearly an hour's worth of interview from him, and I was loving it. It's a brilliant interview, and I was so inspired at the end of it. I hung up the headphones and put my running shoes on. I went and drilled myself for an hour.
Oh, love it.
I hadn't had any lunch. I was really hungry anyway. It was about 30 degrees out, and I got back, and when you properly have the wibbly wobblies, you just kind of open the front door and climb into the fridge and eat everything that's in there. Eat a mustard with a spoon, because there's nothing else edible to go at. So Skipper, you were responsible for that, man.
I did do the fridge thing this evening.
Fridge Raiders.
Yeah, fridge Raiders of the Lost Ark. No, I cycled home from work, and this bloke came past me, Rob, on a carbon machine with race wheels, and there I was struggling on my bike, which feels like a real granny bike with a pannier, and just thinking, oh man, I'm quite jealous of you.
Did you jump on? Did you get the draft?
I couldn't stick with him for a meter, and I thought, this is really not good. I'm a bit pooped now. And then I got home and just I had to eat.
You want to shout at him, don't you? Oi, I did an Ironman 10 days ago.
He did. He was polite enough to say hello.
Afternoon.
He must have noticed my pannier and thought, oh, she's struggling.
Good for you for commuting on the bike.
Oh.
That's wicked stuff.
Anyway, where should we move on to, Rob?
let's go next to Ironman Switzerland. Let's go to Zurich.
Yep.
Let's go there because it's another fantastic European race, isn't it? It's do you know, it's always a surprise to me that this one doesn't sell out like the other ones do, because in terms of event, atmosphere, location, well, maybe it's the fact it's a little bit more expensive because if it's been in Switzerland, but you know, it's usually a week, isn't it, after Austria, Roth, Germany, things like that, and it always seems to not sell out.
Heartbreak Hill, that's the reason, Rob.
Well, yeah, but it's still a lightning fast course as well, isn't it? There's always really fast times put there, and I think you've got 3 big hills a lap, but the rest of it's legit time trialing.
Yeah. And why wouldn't you want to swim in a Swiss lake?
The pictures just look like a chocolate box, don't they? It's insane. You look at it and you go, you'd be getting distracted by it.
I love Switzerland. I have a lot of time for Switzerland. Rob, now, we were mentioning last week about, I think you might have said, I don't know, Hals, if Daniela Ryf will turn up. She didn't just turn up.
Yeah. Will she turn up, or...
She went and won by half an hour. She did 8:51. I bet she wouldn't struggle with a pannier on a blooming commuter bike, would she? Incredible. So she raced to validate her Kona.
That's absolutely insane.
It's mental, isn't it?
It's 8. I'm looking at the numbers here and I'm trying to work this out. She was 30 minutes behind the men's winner.
Yeah. A week after coming within 4 minutes of the world record at Challenge Roth.
She's 30 minutes ahead of the next woman.
Yeah, Emma Billam, who's having an amazing season.
An amazing season. Yeah. Emma Billam is an hour and a few minutes behind the men's women. So there we go. The delta, that's what you'd expect. So that puts Ryf's performance in perspective. How does she do that? Like, you're only just walking down the stairs forwards a week after an Ironman. How does she do that?
It's incredible, isn't it?
She ran a 1:30 first half marathon and then backed it off to 1:37. So she still ran 3:07.
It is just absolutely mind-blowing.
I can't go over
that. You've got a bit speechless there. It's quite inspiring, isn't it?
4:46 on the bike. 4:46 on the bike and then runs a 3:07.
It's incredible.
Not so. So there's the results, I guess. Daniela Ryf dominates it. I mean, someone's going to actually have to fill her tyres with jam, aren't they?
Jam and peanut butter. I think peanut butter would add a bit of, sludge to it. Slow it down.
So they're going to have to hope that she has the back brake rubbing against a wheel or something, aren't they, like you had at the Worlds, to slow her down. And even then...
Wouldn't make much of a difference, would it? She'd still be flying. So, chapeau. 8:51. Do you reckon she'll probably have a bit of a rest now, surely, because that is the main work done, and then it will be Kona.
Yeah.
Emma Billam was second in 9:21. And then Michaela Hurlbauer of Austria, third in 9:28.
Yeah, and do you know who else I've noticed on the ladies' results there, down in 9th place? Still racing.
Natasha Badman.
Ex-multiple Kona winner, Natasha Badman, who must be getting close to 50 now, mustn't she? I'd love to know how old she actually is.
I'm going to look right now, Rob. And while I look, I'm going to tell you that I saw Ali Rowett won her age group at Ironman Zurich. So
she did, didn't she? And she got a Kona slot, which is awesome.
Yep. So,
and also, I tell you who else managed to qualify was Paul Burton, who we had on the show a while ago. He managed to get 32nd place overall in 9:25,
right,
which is storming performance. 8th in his age group, if you can believe that. You're 32nd overall, including the pros, and you're only 8th in your age group. But he managed to get the slot, so well done, Paul. That's a fantastic performance in 9 hours 25. But doesn't it just show the strength and depth in the sport in his age group at the moment? It's insane.
Brilliant stuff. Rob, Natasha Badman, 49.
No way.
She will be 50 in December.
So that means basically she would be racing in the female 50 category, wouldn't she?
Yeah.
It's the year that she ages up. So she would be in the female 50 category. She's still racing pro. That's just...
incredible.
Just mind-blowing. She's only 20 minutes behind Paul Burton. To put it in perspective.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, they must have had a sprint finish. Her and Alyssa Godesky, who did 9:47.20, and Badman 9:47.21.
Look, I'm sorry, Alyssa. Have some respect. Have some respect. You don't take down Natasha Badman in a sprint finish. Maybe I'd like to believe that Natasha was running her down and just couldn't quite catch her.
Could be. Someone will have to fill us in.
I'm emailing Natasha Badman. I want to find an email address from her and get her on the show.
Someone will fill us in. Rob, did you see who won the men's race?
Well, we were talking before, weren't we, and saying if he's in shape, it's got to be his again. But it's getting to the point, a bit like Cam Brown over in New Zealand, where you're thinking, can he do it again? Ronnie Schildknecht, 9 wins. Is it 9 wins in a row as well? 9 straight wins, Ironman Switzerland.
Yeah.
Brilliant stuff, man.
It's great, isn't it?
And he's I don't think we've ever quite seen that astonishing performance at Kona that we've always hoped for. I think he got taken advantage of a couple of years ago by McCormack, from what I've read. Well, not taken advantage of, but he was recruited into Macca's let's put some time into Crowe group, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
And drilled it on the bike with Macca to get away. And then didn't have the run he was hoping for, I think.
Well, but he's done all right in Zurich, so
he's done blooming well.
Exactly.
I mean, he's had some good races out in Kona, but I'd always wanted to see him on the podium. I think when you've got 9 wins at an Ironman, it's a bit like I'm always rooting for Marina van Hohenacker as well. He's been so dominant at Austria. It'd be great to see him finally win it.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Maybe this year. Come on, Ronnie.
Could be. So Ronnie won it in 8:17, Timo Bracht second in 8:24, and then Jan van Berkel third in 8:29.
Yeah, good stuff. And there we go. That's the race results for this week wrapped up, isn't it?
Were we going to mention Lake Placid? I think you mentioned it.
Oh,
yeah,
we were,
you mentioned
of course we were. Yeah, Lake Placid. I thought we'd done that.
No, we haven't done
already.
Lake Placid.
So, no pro race for the men in Lake Placid this year. Only a pro race for the women. So I think they must have done that thing where there's a women's pro championship at one and then the men's pro championship. I'm not even sure where it is this year in the USA. I'm sure one of our American listeners can fill us in. The win taken out by Heather Jackson. 9 hours 09 from Anna Watkinson in 9:45 and Alicia Kay in third in 9:53. So let's just go over that time again there, Hells.
9:09.
Second place?
Yep, 9:45.
35-minute victory.
Yeah, domination.
So let's put that into perspective on the road. 35 minutes of running at 7-minute miles.
Yeah.
Why, isn't it?
That is, yes.
You're 5 miles ahead of the competition.
Wow. Heather Jackson is a strong athlete.
Yeah. And Lake Placid is a really difficult course as well, isn't it? It's a real up and down. I mean, Lake Placid is a ski resort, for God's sake.
Yeah.
So, it's a real, honest, hard, tough, legit course. Yeah. So, well done to her. Do you think we'll see her doing well at Kona this year?
I think she struggled a little bit. Did she? No, she was fifth.
She was fifth last year at Kona. So she won Coeur d'Alene in 2015. Or was she fifth in 2015 maybe?
Yeah, it was last year, wasn't
it?
Yeah.
I get my years all confused because you've got the calendar on the wall and it's like, what year are we doing now?
2016 apparently.
Yeah, there we go. But not for much longer.
No. Right. Do I think that? Yeah, I reckon. I think she'll be up there, Rob.
It's hard to see past Daniela Ryf.
Exactly, that's the thing. Yeah, and Rinny.
It's hard to see.
Rinny Ryf.
Well,
yeah, come on, Austria.
No. I just think it's hard to see past Ryf. I think if you look at the way the dynamic's going to play out, I mean, no disrespect to Rinny at all, because she's an absolutely superb athlete and her run's incredible. But with Ryf swim and bike, the gap is going to be, massive, isn't it? And I just can't see a situation. Reef's done such strong races the last couple of ones. It's hard to see her not being able to do like a controlled marathon. And even if running's running a minute a mile into her, if she's got 20 odd minutes on her off the bike, is she just going to run controlled and then just do enough to hold on?
Who knows?
Could be a great race, though.
Exactly. Could be a great race. Let's not write it off yet.
Could come down to the wire. You're going to go for Rinny. I'm going to go for Reef now. That's what I'm saying.
I'm calling it right now, Rob. Come on.
We've got weeks of this pleasure to go.
I'm not calling it. Rob, I did want to mention congratulations to friend of the show, Laura Siddle, who got her first win at the weekend. She won at Challenge Poznan, which was in Poland. She won the half. So again, after fourth place at Roth in a sub 9 hours, backed it up with a win in the half, which is great. And David McNamee won the men's race.
Good stuff.
There we go.
Nice to get Sid back on actually and talk to her about how in God's name you race and win half Ironman the week after you've just been sub 9 hours at Roth.
Exactly. How and a bit like Reef going, back to back. I know that was double Ironman, but Laura did back to back Ironman, didn't she? Owning over in New Zealand with Ironman New Zealand and Wanaka as well in a very short space of time. So, she's clearly bounces back well.
Well, maybe we're missing a trick. Maybe you just enter another race the week after your Ironman, and although you can't walk...
Didn't Carl Alexander, though, say that it was horrendous when he did it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did, But did he not try and do... He did the Bastion, didn't he, first?
Yeah, which would probably screw the legs more than...
Which was horrendously hilly difficult. Yeah. Mind you, having said that, I mean, every Ironman's hard, isn't it?
Exactly. So it would be interesting to hear about how you do back.
How you do it, how you back it up. Maybe women can do it and men find it harder. Maybe there's some kind of gender difference in this.
Who knows? But I so from my personal experience, I was ready just to chill the heck out for a little bit, and I obviously couldn't walk, but maybe there's a little bit of mental strength or weakness in there as well, in that as soon as you think, oh, I can now relax.
I'm done, rather than I'm going to race again, I'm getting on a plane and I need to be ready.
Exactly. So it would be interesting to talk about that.
Yeah, any listeners out there who've done the back-to-back Ironman weekends, let us know. That'd be dead interesting. Fire us a message over on Facebook or Twitter and let us know if you've done it. I'd be interested to hear about your experiences.
We are at Cup of Tri on Twitter and Facebook. If you just search Cup of Tri, we'll come up there as well. And Rob, I was going to throw something else into this one. We've mentioned him. We've had him on a couple of times. Deca Dave is going to be doing 20 back-to-back.
And he won his age group and broke the age group record at the Outlaw, didn't he?
What a guy. Yeah, Deca Dave.
Doing an Ironman for a little bit of speed work, as he texted to me, just off for a speed workout this weekend.
So, yeah, he backs it up on a daily basis. So he did 10, didn't he, in Mexico last year, and now he's going to be going for 20 in, funnily enough, Switzerland. So he is the king.
Maybe we should be asking him. He's the king, isn't he? Not a week apart, but...
a few hours apart.
I think we've got another. I think it starts the weekend of the 14th, the double decker. So we've got plans to get him on and talk to him during that. Hopefully, I mean, whether he's going to be able to or not, I don't know. Whether we can find the Wi-Fi and make it work when he's got a few hours to sleep before doing the next one. But imagine that, 20 Ironmans in 20 days.
I don't want to.
Yeah. Simple. If any of the listeners fancy backing Dave, he's got a GoFundMe page, hasn't he?
He has.
And if I was prepared, I'd have the bloody address of it here, and I haven't. I'll retweet it out on the Cup of Tri Facebook page. Dave is obviously raising money to get himself out there because he's got to take 3 weeks off work, but he's giving half the money that he raises to a charity. So that's a mark of the guy as well, isn't it? So if you can afford to back Dave, and I think there's even a deal still, isn't there, that if you donate 25 quid, Hoob sends you a voucher for 25 quid worth off their stuff.
It's something like that, yeah.
I'll retweet the thing on the Facebook page.
Yes, do that
later on.
Very
Support
sensible.
Dave. Come on, Dave. If he does it, Helen, I'm going to buy him a rainbow jersey.
Oh,
You can actually get him a world champion gem and have him one made
I
up.
like that. Yeah, that's because he's just a champ. Rob, the address is crowdfunding.justgiving.com/Dave-Clamp.
Brilliant.
So yeah, you can. So crowdfunding.justgiving.com/Dave-Clamp.
That's brilliant. Maybe we'll get him tattooed. Maybe we'll get the rings tattooed around his chest.
I don't think he'd go for that.
He hasn't got any choice.
Oh,
We'll raise the money to have it done, and we'll have it done to him.
don't be cruel. Don't be cruel.
You are a legend, Dave, if you're listening. We love you.
Rob.
All right, we've got a bit of a coach's couch question, Hells.
We have. It has come in from Jason Holmes, and he says that he's been out on the road for the first time on his new tri-bike. He says, lovely. Seems to just be
isn't it nice?
flying along.
Nice?
Maybe he was the guy that came past me with his race wheels. I used the aero bars about 10 to 15 minutes of that. And he just says afterwards that his neck was aching. Are there any exercises that he can do to get used to it or get that loosened off?
All right, so this is quite a common one, isn't it, that people have asked us before. You get your first tri-bike and you head on out on it, and when you're down on the aero bars, you're zooming along, but you find after 10 minutes or so that your neck is really sore and it's aching and your undercarriage hurts and everything feels a bit weird and wobbly. So I think the question is, are there any exercises I can do to get used to it? Well, the first answer is just by riding your bike, you're going to get better and you're going to get used to it. We saw this with you, didn't we, when you got your first proper tri-bike?
Yes, yep, definitely. And it takes, oh God, it does take some time to get comfy on it. But Rob, you'll be pleased to hear this. During Bolton, this guy who I must have been cycling near for a little bit of time, not drafting, I'd like to point out, he said, he was like, oh my God, I can't believe how you're managing to stay in the aero position for so long. I was like, brilliant. Yeah,
nice.
And I just thought,
it
actually,
worked.
I said, I've spent a lot of time in it, practicing, training.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's the key, isn't it? There's no secrets. You've got to get out and do it, but make it easy for yourself in the early days by doing it like interval training and ride for, a couple of minutes the first time out and sit up for a couple of minutes, and then extend it to 5 minutes and sit up for a couple of minutes, and then 10 minutes and sit up for a couple of minutes. And by the time you've been out, I reckon about 4, 5, 6 rides is where you start to feel, oh, okay, yeah, I'm comfortable cornering on this now. I'm comfortable changing my line around grids and potholes and stuff, and it starts to feel a bit more like second nature, doesn't it?
Yeah, and even little things like changing gear, that sounds ridiculous, but if you're not used to the different gearings maybe on the bike, like if they're not in the same place as your road bike, that even takes a little bit of getting used to, I think.
Yeah, well, the whole thing's very alien, isn't it? Because all of a sudden, firstly, you're going probably 3 to 5 kilometers an hour faster than you used to for the given effort. So everything's coming at you quite quickly. Next thing is you can't really see as much as you used to, because there's no way you can see as far down the road, is there, when you're riding in an aero position? No. So, I mean, that's another good tip, I think, is that you have to accept you're not going to be looking in the same position as you are when you're on a road bike. You have to accept that you're going to have to spend some time, not that we're advising you to look at the floor directly down as you ride, but you need to look up for a bit and see what's coming, and then kind of relax your head down a little bit, and naturally you're not going to be able to see as much. Do you remember me talking to you about peripheral vision being up and down as well as side to side, and you can kind of get a sense for what's coming? I think the real guys who, we talked to Matt Botterill a while ago, I don't know very much how much he actually sees of the road coming up, you know, because his head's down and his hands are up, and his head's almost entirely hidden by his hands and his body and stuff. So, that's a big part of going fast in the aero position, isn't it? Getting that head down out of the wind.
But I do think initially just getting used to it. And I mean, I had my TT bike on my turbo lot over winter, not with like race wheels, but just with some training wheels. And even that helped just to get used to the position. So, that, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's a massive one. If you have your TT bike set up on the turbo all through the winter and it becomes your go-to bike, the next season just becomes much more comfortable. You're still going to get an aching neck, but you're much more used to the position and you're much more used to putting the power out down there. And one other thing I'm going to mention about time trial bikes is, especially for men, you need to think about the fact you're going to be sitting on a different part of your body than you are on a road bike. You're kind of going to rotate forwards, and that's going to put extra pressure and friction on a different part of your undercarriage. So if you don't usually use chamois cream, spend 10 quid on a good pot of chamois cream and get loads on there every time you go out, because part of the discomfort you're going to feel in your neck and your shoulders is going to be because you're taking extra weight on your arms. And you'll be taking extra weight on your arms even more so if you're uncomfortable where you're rubbing against the saddle. Yeah. So it kind of sounds counterproductive and stupid, but by not having that friction on your undercarriage there, I think it's going to help the neck and the shoulders and stuff at that end.
Definitely. And Rob, I know that we've had quite a few questions in for Coach's Couch from listeners on Twitter, so thank you very much for those, and I know that we'll get to some of them over the next few weeks, so that's great. We like them. Thank you.
Certainly will. Keep chipping away.
For sure.
It's all good. Well, I think we've just about come to everything we've got to chat about for tonight, haven't we?
I think we might have, Rob. Yeah.
We've come to the end of the line, and before we sign off and hand you over to our mammoth interview with Mr. Skipper, all that remains is for us to wish you, young lady, a very happy and exciting time over in Rio at the Olympics.
I can't wait.
I'm so jealous, man. There can't be many people flying from the UK over to Rio to go watch the Olympics.
I'm not going to watch loads of it. I'll be working, but...
Yeah, you'll have a telly in front of you.
Yeah, there will be a TV. Exactly. I'll probably see similar amounts to what you might watch. I'm really, really excited, and I don't really care if this sounds cheesy. It is a bit like a childhood dream.
Isn't it just?
An absolute childhood dream. Wow. So yeah, I'm really chuffed.
And it's Rio, like it's a double donuts, isn't it? The Olympics, and it's not like it's the Olympics in,
London.
Well, no, I wasn't going to say London. I was going to say some municipal town in Belgium, or whatever. It's a really glamorous place to go to, isn't it? Sorry if we've got any Belgian listeners. I'm sure there's some lovely places in Belgium.
Belgium's great. I know. I've been to Brazil for a day, so I'm looking to spend longer than a day in Brazil.
Wicked stuff. And do you reckon, are you looking at your schedule and stuff, are you going to get the chance to get out and actually see any of the stuff going on? And in particular, are you going to get to see
the triathlon,
the men's or the women's triathlon?
I don't think I will, because I will be based at the Olympic Park, and it's not. And my job will be in the Olympic Park, so I doubt I will. If suddenly I were to be able to go and do that,
some free time.
Clearly, that would be great. But I think mainly I will be in an office on the Olympic Park. But that beats being in an office in the UK for 3 weeks, doesn't it?
Doesn't it just? Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm giving you your mission, Helen. Your mission, should you choose to accept, is to take your MP3 recorder, sneak into the athletes' village, and find us a Brownlee. Find us non-Stanford.
I'm going to say right now.
Find us Helen Jenkins.
I'm not even going to accept that mission, Rob.
No chance.
No chance. No. I quite want to come back, in one piece.
Not fired.
Yeah, exactly. So, no chance. But hey, I can always take an MP3.
You never know what might happen.
I've got my phone on me. You can record things on your phone.
Maybe someone knows one of them, and maybe someone can say, "Oh, by the way, that Cup of Tri podcast, Helen's out there. Do an interview with him." How good would that be?
You never know, Rob. They might walk past in the office.
Yeah. We've got to shoot big.
Yep. No promises, but we'll see.
All right. Well, listen, you have a great time over there, mate. It'll be a chance of a lifetime, I'm sure, and I'll be thinking of you.
Thank you. Are we doing any recordings when I'm out there? You had initially say, yeah, we'll make it work.
Well, we could try, couldn't we? But I just think you're going to be so. If we can make it work, that'd be awesome. but I've got a feeling you might be worked to the nines already.
Yeah, they're usually 18-hour days, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Hey,
we'll see. You might be hearing from Helen. Maybe you'll be leaving us 30 seconds on the old speak pipe.
I think I should do that.
Yeah, definitely. Check in. Hi, Helen's week 1 roundup.
Yes. Oh, right. I'm going to shut up now. Yeah, have a lovely month.
Nice one. And right, so I guess we're going over now to our interview of the week with Joe Skipper, who has just been out, obviously smashed the British record, gone sub 8 hours at Roth and finished second, and really doubly put himself on the map if he wasn't there already on the super international stage. So here's our interview with Joe Skipper. Right, so we are joined with Joe Skipper. Joe, back from your, quite frankly, absolutely astonishing performance over in Challenge Roth this weekend, mate. First up, I've got to ask you, how are the legs feeling?
They're not feeling so bad now, but a few days ago they were feeling pretty rough.
Feeling pretty special. So we're recording this Friday, about 4 or 5 days after the race. So, yeah, I mean, man, talk us through it. You must be over the moon.
Oh, yeah, I am really pleased to do it because, like I said in loads of things before the race, that I really wanted to go under 8 hours, and to do it when I've been like working towards it for quite some time is it's just a brilliant feeling, really.
That's absolutely brilliant, man, and I think, I mean, it's quite a mind-blowing milestone, I think, to go under 8 hours. For several years, up until a couple of years ago, there were only really a handful of guys who'd ever done it. You know, there were the guys back in the day, and then Macca managed to do it a few times. And obviously, we had Rayler managed to go and lower the record, and we had Marino do a couple of times that were in the sort of the low 150s, and then he went down into the high 140s. So here's what I really want to know. Did you ever doubt your ability to do this?
No, I knew I could do it. Do you mean like during the race?
Well, I mean, in the lead up to it all, obviously, I've got a lot of respect for the fact that you set yourself up for this and you said, I'm going to Roth and I'm going to go under 8 hours. That's my kind of plan, and I'm going to do it. But I'm just wondering, did you ever have any doubts about whether you were capable of doing it?
No, I knew I was going to be able to do it.
Good man.
And to be honest, I when I was training for it, and I said to my friend Lee, who came out and did the race as well, that I wasn't really training to go under 8 hours. I was training to aim for under 750. And if I didn't do that, then I knew I might not be able to do that, but I'd definitely do under 8 hours, because I don't think you want to train to go, say, 7:59, because then you're kind of hoping that the weather and a lot of other factors go right for you in order for you to achieve that. Whereas if you're ideally trained to go a bit quicker, then if something doesn't go quite so right, like one of the disciplines doesn't go quite your way or the weather's not perfect, then you've still got it in the tank to do it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's dead interesting to hear that you think you're capable of going under 750, man, because obviously you only are the only person who really knows how much you're really capable of and what you believe you're really capable of. Let's go through the race and let's talk about how it played out for you on the day. First up, I've never been to Roth. I've signed up for the race twice and not been able to go either time. And the photographs I've seen of you going up the Solerberg just look insane. What was the atmosphere like?
Oh, it was unbelievable. You hear a lot about it, but it exceeded my expectations of the climb. Even from the pictures what I'd seen and from what I'd heard, I thought it looked and sounds awesome. But in real life, when you're there and you experience it, it was unbelievable. Yeah, I've never seen anything like it. It was amazing.
It does look, doesn't it, like one of those crazy climbs on the Tour de France with people literally 5 or 6 deep on each side of the road and only just enough gap for you to get through.
Yeah, and when I was riding up at the first time, there wasn't even a gap. They were literally covering it, and then as soon as I got there, they would open up, but I couldn't actually see. Literally 6 feet in front was all you could see, and then as you got closer, the people would just open up a bit more. But it felt like I was going to run people over because there was literally no road to see.
So you really did get the full-on crazy Tour de France experience there, hey?
Yeah, it was pretty nuts.
And were the crowds all the way around the bike course as well as on the big hills?
Yeah, there's kind of periods. You go through certain towns and villages and there's loads of people. And then there might be a bit where it's a bit quieter. And then you might hit another climb and there'll be a lot of people. But there's quite a lot of climbing there. And that's one thing what I don't think you realise until you get out there exactly how much climbing there is. It's not a drag strip course by any means of the imagination.
Yeah, well, that's one thing that I was very interested to hear a couple of years ago. I heard a podcast with Chris McDonald, who went very well there and finished top 5. And he said, look, the course is fast, but it definitely isn't flat. There's a lot of short, sharp up hills, and then you get your speed from the combination of the road surface and the fact that the downhills are kind of long and sweeping, and you can really get some speed up there. So did the course surprise you as to how hilly it actually was?
Yeah, and I think it's slower as well. Like, I thought I actually thought the bike course would be a lot faster, and I kept saying to my friend, because obviously I went out there 4 weeks before and recce'd it, and I didn't think it was that quick, but everyone kept saying, oh no, on race day it's really quick. You get like all the fans and people like pulling you along, and I thought, well, you see a lot of fast times on there, so maybe it is a lot quicker on race day. But like, from what I'd seen, I kept thinking, like, how's this a really fast course? And then on race day I was like aiming to go. My target was like 4:15. I thought worst case scenario 4:20, and I didn't even do 4:20. I mean, I've done a lot faster bike courses than that one. And I think, that's I think the reason why some people get really fast times on there is maybe because they're in a good group. There's some good athletes together, so they get in a good pack. And maybe, I don't know, like, if motorbikes play a part or whatever, I don't know, because obviously I didn't see anything. But I know, I mean, you hear a lot of stuff, but
yeah, well, the organisers made quite a big deal in the run up to this, didn't they? Obviously, Frodeno wanted to go and break the world record, and the organisers were really vocal in saying, we want to make sure there are extra marshals to make sure that this record is legit if he breaks it, and that he isn't getting a draft off the motorbike or the press cars. So you kind of wonder whether that's them addressing the criticisms a little bit and saying, maybe even complicitly saying maybe in the past there was a bit of an issue there for the front pack.
Yeah. I mean, it could be. Yeah, I did feel like I got quite a pull when I went past Daniela Ryf, because she got out the swim ahead of me, so it took me a while to catch her. And like when I was like catching up with her, I got a big pull on, from all the motorbikes and stuff, and I was like, oh, I hope they stay with me for a bit.
So that's interesting. You were aware of that then, as you were riding up behind her. You were aware that you were getting a bit of a pull from vehicles that were around her.
You see speed, mate. I was going like 26, 27. All of a sudden, I'm going 31 miles an hour, 32. It like slingshotted me past them. Unfortunately, they didn't stay with me at all. But
it's a shame, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just one of the things Chris McDonald said was that the year he did it, he got out of the water about a minute down on the lead group, and he rode a minute behind the lead pack the whole way. And his feeling was the course is really fast for the lead group, partly because of the vehicles and partly because the vehicles are like clearing a path through the age groupers on the second lap. But he didn't feel he got that advantage at all, being or two down the road.
I was completely by myself the whole way. I caught a pack up at like 60 kilometers, but I could see they were like freewheeling a bit in there, and like some of them were having to like not put much effort in. And I thought, I don't want to be the guy who catches them up and then ends up like sitting on the front pulling a load of people around with me for them to run off and leave me standing on the run. So I had to put in like a couple of digs. Luckily, I caught them not on the Soderberg, but the climb before that, on the descent leading into that. So I kind of hit the next climb quite hard because I thought everyone's got to work hard on an incline, and then got a few managed to get like gaps between us all, and I pushed it. As soon as we got over the top, I really accelerated up to speed, kept the pace on into the Soderberg, and then kind of went full gas up the Soderberg, and then managed to drop them, and then just carried on.
So there was a very big element there of like tactical racing that had to come into play that you wouldn't have ideally wanted, I guess, if you were trying to ride your best possible bike split, right?
No, I would have liked to have just been with like a couple of others if we were all working together, or even not even put the surge on, because it was quite a big one. I mean, I didn't know quite how big, but I looked at Training Peaks wanted to do something with my like power file from the race, and I think they said like I got my highest 1 minute power on the climb, because I mean you're going hard, but you're not going like real hard, because obviously you are aware that you've got to still carry on time trialing for like another 100 kilometers afterwards.
Yeah, sure.
But I got my like highest 1 minute power of like 490 or 480, something like that. But I looked on Strava at the climb, and I think I had like 3 minutes at like 400 watts, which in the middle of an Ironman is like pretty high, isn't it? Like
it's pretty full on VO2 max plus effort, that isn't it, for 3 minutes?
Yeah, it's not ideal. But I knew I had to do it to get rid of them, because if I'd have gone anything less, they would have all been behind me, and it would have been a bit off-putting as well. Like, you're kind of worrying like, oh, if I put too much in, like, am I just towing around? And sometimes they can come in front of you and then end up slowing you down. And obviously, I just wanted to get a good time, but I also wanted to try and get a decent position as well, if possible.
Sure.
So I knew, like, tactically, I had to do it, and I thought, it's only 3 minutes. It's not really going to have a massive impact on the race.
And where did you end up on the road then? You said you basically rode the whole thing on your own. Did you get off the bike relatively? I know you were in 6th off the bike, weren't you? Did you see any guys up in front of you at that point, or was it all just like a complete solo time trial?
It was a solo time trial. I got into 5th place after I overtook that group, and then literally with like 12, 13 kilometres to go, Cyril Vino caught me from that group. He must have bridged up. I think once I started, I was fading a little bit towards the end of the second lap on the bike, and yeah, he managed to like bridge up to me, which in hindsight, if I had have been able to, ideally, if I'd have been able to work with him on the bike, it would have been great. But he didn't manage to get rid of that group at the same time as what I did. So, and you kind of just have to, at the time, you just have to do what you can to get away from the group. It's so hard to just go away with one other person, isn't it? It's not.
Yeah, of course.
So he caught me with about 12 kilometres to go, and I was feeling really tired at that point, and I wasn't sure how I was going to be able to run, but I knew I had to keep pushing on the bike, because I don't normally look at average speed, but I wanted to look at the average speed, because I knew from looking at the course, but like how long the course was and what time I was hoping to do, that I needed to average 41 kilometres an hour to have a shot at going under 8 hours. And I was literally just on 41 kilometres an hour, but then my swim was like 2.5 minutes slower than what I had planned for, and 41 kilometres an hour was the slowest like possible speed I'd worked out that I could have, what I thought I could average, with what I was hoping to run at. So I was well behind schedule starting the run, and I felt pretty tired, so I wasn't sure how it was going to go.
Hey, well, listen, this is the thing I want to ask you about getting off the bike, and we'll go back to the swim, I hope, later on. But I mean, you said in the press you got off the bike and you felt pretty whipped. What's going through your mind at a point like that when, I mean, for most people who've done an Ironman, they know they go through a phase where they feel pretty dark for 20k or so at some point. But as you get off the bike, most people think have paced themselves knowing they've got a marathon to come on. And it sounds like really this for you was a game of, it was all or nothing, wasn't it? You were going to do the bike time and then just see what you had left for the run. So what was going through your mind when you got off the bike then?
Basically that I've only got 2.5 hours left, and I'm going to let a lot of people down if I don't go under 8 hours. So get your arse in gear.
So how did you feel, man, starting the run?
Shot a bit shot, like just tired, just like a bit fatigued. And then I started off running with Cyril, and I thought this is okay because I've outrun him. But to be honest, he, after about half a mile, 3/4 of a mile, about half a mile, I knew I would have needed to kind of go to the loo a bit, so I was like trying to hold it in, and he was running, but he actually dropped me after about half a mile and put about 20 meters into me, and I really didn't feel great. It was a really big turnaround, and I thought, but then I saw the first mile split and it came up and it was like 5:59, and I thought, well, that's all right. Like, I don't, if I'm right, as long as I can keep running around this pace, then I'll do all right. But yeah, he actually pulled away from me, and I had to go. I thought I'm going to have to go to the loo, so I literally had to get some spectators that were on their bikes there to pull my suit down. I under.
Oh really?
Said, yeah, pull my suit down. Can you pull it down? They pulled it down, and I waited until I knew where I needed to go, like where there was a good opportunity to kind of run some bushes. So they pulled it down. And I literally just dived into the bushes.
Was it a Paula Radcliffe moment, essentially?
Yeah. Dived in, and then just came out, tried getting my suit back on, had to get him to pull it back up, and then just carried on. I think I lost about a minute then, because people had said I could get the time splits, what people were saying, how far I was behind Cyril. And they were saying about a minute. I couldn't see him, but it actually was quite nice because once I got onto the canal, after about 2.5 miles, I could see him in the distance, and it gave me something to focus on for the first bit, which probably was beneficial in the end, because I could kind of gradually reel him in. And I caught him and I said, like, kind of work together. But he wasn't really feeling it. And then a little bit later, I saw Tyler Butterfield. So then that gave me something to focus on because I was trying to catch him. And then we were coming up to the turnaround point at that point then as well. So then I saw the leaders go past, or not the leaders. I saw Jan quite a bit before them, but I saw second and third. And I kind of thought, well, I'll try and get a time split on them. And I got a time split and I saw it was about 9 minutes. And I knew I'd obviously had to stop for a minute. So I thought, well, I've probably taken about a minute off them in the first bit from the time split I got at the start of the run from where they are. Although I wasn't bothered at the start of the run where they were, I thought I just need to concentrate on doing the best marathon I can.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, obviously you've gone out hard. You've gone out a 6-minute mile pace, which is going to run you about a 2:36 marathon. And I've read things that you've said in interviews already where you basically said, look, I just decided I was going to run 6-minute miles for as long as I could and hang on, basically. Was that the strategy?
Yeah. I just thought, shit or bust.
Yeah.
I'll just get time in the. I just wanted to get some time in the bank, so I thought I'll just do it, save as much time as I can, and just hope that I don't blow until later on in the run. To be honest, I was expecting to blow up at some point, and I was just hoping it would be later rather than sooner. But I knew that I had to go for it. Because for me to go there, it was sub 8 or nothing. It was either go 7:59, or I don't care. I don't want to go save myself a little bit and go 8 hours, 1 minute, or 8 hours and 30 seconds, or 8 hours 3 minutes. It was just you just have to put it all on the line and just hope it pays off. And yeah, thankfully it did.
And so where during the run did you get to the point where you felt like the wheels were starting to come off? How far did you get before you started to see your pace fade a little bit? Or did you not? Did you feel strong all the way through?
No, I didn't really feel strong all the way through. I started to feel like I was going to bonk a bit after about 30 kilometres. I was starting to feel really hungry. And luckily you can get people to hand you nutrition out on the course. And I had a female pro called Anne Jensen. She wasn't racing, but she was out there. I met her a couple of weeks ago, and she said that she'd help me with handle stuff out at the aid stations. And I said to her, "Can you get me a gel at the next aid station?" So she biked along ahead and handed me one out, and I got one at another aid station after that. But that was a massive benefit because I was starting to fade at that point, I think. And also I was almost I knew I was catching for second place up. But I didn't think I was going to catch them because they still had quite a lot. They still had about 4 minutes on me with 12Ks to go. So I didn't think I was going to pull it off. But
yeah, it's a big ask, that, isn't it? Is that 20 seconds a K? I think you're going to have to pull back over 4 minutes, 3, yeah, something like that, isn't it?
Yeah, 20 seconds a kilometre then it must be. So yeah, it's quite a lot. I mean, my mile splits probably dropped on my Garmin. I think the slowest I started seeing was 6:15s. But then I would try and pick it up again and try and get it down to 6:05s or something, or close. I had a couple of around 6:10s to 6:15s, but generally they were all around 6 minutes or under 6:10.
Got you. And where did it become sort of obvious to you were gonna make the catch? Was it Nils Fromhold was in second at this point?
Yeah. Well, I only saw him with a mile to go.
Really? So it was right down to the wire, was it?
I didn't have any other time splits. The last time split I got before that was 2 minutes 15. I couldn't see him until literally I saw him with a mile to go, and then I caught him with a kilometre to go.
And did he react? What happened, man?
No, I just picked the pace up and thought I'm going to have to make sure it's a big move when I go past him. So I picked the pace up and went for it. And tried to,
and that was it. He was done for the day, was he?
Yeah, I thought with the amount I've been catching him per kilometre, so at the end it must have been even more than 20 seconds a kilometre because I think it was going down slower at the start. So I'd probably say I was running 30, 40 seconds a kilometre quicker than him at that point. I thought if I can pick my pace up by 10, 15 seconds a kilometre, he's going to have to pick up by such a massive amount when he's probably already on the limit that it's just to happen for him, and I would have just like tried to push it even harder if I could, if he'd have come with me.
Good stuff,
but I did think there was going to be a sprint finish. I was looking forward to
that. And then talk us through the finish line then. So you've managed to take second at Roth with less than a kilometre to go, which is like a couple of laps of the running track. That's amazing, isn't it? You must have been almost in the stadium at the time.
Oh yeah, it was literally like about 300 or 400 metres later, you took a right turn and you kind of run. It was all lined out, kind of like almost like you run kind of past a part of the expo. It's not through the expo, but it's right next to it. So it was literally just like 300 metres before you turn into like where the expo is. So yeah, it was really close to the line. I think a lot of people in the stadium thought that I was still in third place, like before, like people that were like supporting me and stuff. Yeah, Laura's there now with me, and she's like shaking her head. She thought I was in third place, and then obviously saw me come.
25 seconds on the last split.
All they knew was that there's 25 seconds at the last split, which is about a mile to go. So yeah, they all thought I was in third place, and then
wow. So that's a real surprise for them that you've popped up there in second, eh?
Stressful for the supporters, she said.
I bet. Oh man! All right, so that's incredible. So your overall time was 7:55.
56:23.
7:56:23, man, and the new UK British record. So that's got to feel pretty good, man. You're on the history books for forever, really, aren't you? There with the first sub-8 time.
Yeah, it just feels, to be honest, more of a relief that I actually managed to do it after like saying that I was going to do it. But I just really like the process of doing it, like the training, the dedication to do it, and that was like the really fun bit of it. And then just getting the time or whatever is the icing on the cake. But now I've done it, I'm kind of like moving on to the next thing now. I'm just pleased that I managed to do it, and it was great fun, like trying to achieve it. But you can't sit on your laurels, can you? You just have to kind of just enjoy it. Like I'll enjoy it and have.
So what is the next thing for you then? Have you? I mean, you've only had a few days, but have you had time to think about what's next?
Yeah, Kona, definitely. Like that was always going to be the next plan after this. So it's just going there and just getting a decent position.
And have you got any thoughts what that's going to be for you?
Yeah, I would love to get in the top 5, but I think I'd be happy with a top 10 just to finally kind of get in there in that top 10 and then use it as something to build on next year. But I think if I can get it off the bike in the right place or in contention, then the top 5 is definitely on the cards, because I've shown that I can run fast, and if I'm in there I can get close to the lead group or even catch lead group depending on who I get out the swim with. I think it could be a decent position, could be on the cards.
Yeah, fantastic, man. Listen, let's take a minute to talk about Jan Frodeno's time. What was your take on, obviously, racing the guy on the day? So how do you feel about him and his performance?
That was awesome performance. Managed to drop everyone on the swim, which is mega impressive that no one could stay on his feet. And then his bike split was really impressive, because if I hadn't have been out in Roth and seen what the course was like, I would have thought a 4:08. That's good. But loads of people, quite a few people have been sick, done times that are close to that. But when you actually go out there, like I said at the start, and you ride the course, you just see how phenomenal that is. Because I was talking about it to someone earlier today, that the course there, I think, suits slower riders more, because like you said, you go up the hills and they might be like shorter, steeper, and then longer descents. But everyone generally goes down the descents a similar speed, don't they? Because if you can't go that much quicker, can you? You know, once you start going over like 32, 33 miles per hour, you might only gain a mile or 2 miles an hour, which doesn't get you that much time in the bank, does it?
Yeah, absolutely.
But going up the hills, you're only going up them at like something at like 15, 20, like 20 kilometers an hour. Like the long climb, I think you average like 15 miles an hour, but it's almost 10 minutes. So where do you get that extra speed from? You know, like if you've been going up for like 10 minutes at 20 kilometers an hour slower than the speed you're looking to hold for the bike leg, but you can't ride at 40 miles an hour for 10 minutes to get it back, can you? So it's just so impressive to do that bike split on that course. It's not like Texas, where like I was doing my training rides on the Texas course at like 23 miles per hour at like training power, whereas on the rough course I was doing it at like 20, 21. So I knew it was a slower course, but yeah, to actually be there and experience that course and race when someone does a 4:08. It did like make me think, wow, like that's a brilliant ride.
Well, do you know what, man? That's absolutely true, but I want to flip this around a little bit here because I think what we've seen is that the best, arguably the best athlete of his generation has turned out the best performance of a generation on the Roth course, and you've outrun him.
Yeah.
And so I think that's something that maybe you haven't considered yet, that other people are going to be sitting down around the world looking at this, and you've always been known as a really strong superbiker after your Texas split, but you've actually outrun Frodeno on a day when he's run a 2:39, which is, you know, one of the fastest legit marathons of all time, and you've outrun him on that course after biking on your own the whole time. So I'm telling you, man, there's got to be lots of people standing out there going, Joe Skipper's done an amazing performance here.
Yeah, I was really pleased with the run because I wasn't expecting to run that quick, but I think it just shows, doesn't it? Like what you can do. It's a lot of it's in your head, isn't it? Like if you go out hard, and you can run, you might run a lot quicker than what you think.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And you were clearly on it. You were on a really good day as well, which really helps. And maybe, who knows, Joe, those days when you had to dig really deep, when you didn't have a great day at UK last year and you had to dig really deep there to hold on to third, maybe that's the kind of thing that builds the mental strength for the days when you have got perfect legs like this
definitely.
one.
Definitely. That's what I always say to people. Like, it's the hard days what make the good days. Because
and I think that's what people don't understand, isn't it? That, I mean, I was at the roadside at UK that day and we were chatting a little bit backwards and forwards, and you were in so much pain on the Ironman UK marathon.
Yeah.
And yet you kept digging in and kept on going, even though the win was, you know, we knew you weren't going to catch those boys.
Yeah, it wasn't a good pain as well. Like, you get the good pain when you feel like you're going well and everything's clicking and it's quite nice. But whereas that just felt horrible. It was like you just feel like you've got not much in the tank and you don't feel good. It just feels like everything feels hard. It just felt like one of them kind of days. But they're the days where you kind of see what you're made of. Some people like quit, don't they, and pull out. Because I mean, I'd already qualified Kona at that point. There was no need to carry on. I was in third place and I wanted to win it. I didn't feel good. But yeah, like once you start pulling out, you open a whole can of worms, don't you? And you see it with a lot of athletes. Once they start pulling out once, they pull out more, don't they? And I'd never pull out like from something like that. And I mean, third place is still you've got to give that respect. I mean, there's a lot of people that would love to get third place, isn't there, in like Ironman UK? So
yeah, definitely.
And I'd much rather be in third place and struggling than someone who's struggling and out there for 16 or 17 hours. God, yeah, that's twice the amount of time, isn't it? You know, like they're out there for. So yeah.
Well, that's it, man. You said it. That's the real heroes of the sport are also the guys who are really struggling to make the cutoff, and they're out there for 17, 18 hours. They're not working any less hard than you relative to their capabilities, but they're doing it for twice as long.
Yeah, that'd be like me doing like almost like a double, and I just wouldn't fancy that. I just fair play to them. Fair play to them.
Hey mate, listen, we've got some questions through from listeners. I threw some stuff out on Facebook and Twitter, so let's go through these here. Greg Irvin says, how did Joe's preparation for this race differ to that of his previous races?
It didn't really differ much at all. It was pretty similar. Like I just try and train consistently, and each training block tries to build on from the last. So it's like similar principles, and yeah, it didn't. I wouldn't say it differed at all. Really, it was just another year of getting stronger and faster.
Yeah,
but
keep consistent training keeps paying off in the long run, doesn't it?
That's it. There's no secrets. It's just hard, consistent training week in, week out.
We should get a T-shirt made with that written on, Joe. Joe says there's no secrets.
It's true though. You can ask anyone, and that is literally all it comes down to. Which sounds a lot easier than it is, but it's actually pretty hard because every time you get an injury, it kind of sets yourself back. If you can't miss any sessions, like something might come up, some other opportunity to do something, but you can't just like sack it off and miss it if you really want to perform well. It's just all the little things like that which make a massive difference.
Yeah. Matt Wackett says, how did Joe pace the run, and was it to a pre-prepared plan or just a case of seeing what was left in the tank?
Pretty much just seeing what was left in the tank, and I knew I had to kind of go for it, so I just really went for it, and just luckily just managed to hang on. But yeah, it wasn't prepared. I didn't really know what I was capable of. I knew I was in good run shape because of a run session, what I'd done a couple of weeks beforehand, or about 10 days beforehand. which kind of made me think, well, that was quite good. So I knew I was running well. So I was quite confident that I could do a decent one, but the run session I did was a lot shorter, so you don't really know how you're going to do in an Ironman marathon because there's so many things that can come into play.
What was the session? Do you mind me asking?
Yeah, I did. I just did like an hour's steady run in the morning, and then about 3 or 4 hours later, I did a run session, and it was about 4K warm up, and then 800s with a minute. Like I would say jog recovery, but it's not really recovery. It's still like knocking along at a reasonable pace, and then like 4K warm down. I did the 800s probably at about average, probably about 226, and then the recovery pace is about 6:30 miling. So a minute,
Got you.
So an 800 and like about 226, 227, and then a minute at like 6:30 pace, and do like 8 of them, just constantly through.
So the recovery pace isn't actually a lot slower than your Ironman marathon pace there, is it?
No, not really. No, pretty. So you're not really recovering. You've already done an hour in the morning and the 4K warm ups. By the time you start the 800s, you've already done like 18Ks in about last 4 hours. So you don't feel that fresh when you start it.
Interesting. Okay, Ron Skilling says, how much value does he put on the general diet, and broadly, what do you eat in race week?
Oh, loads on the general diet. I always try and eat like really healthy, and like for this race, I did like really watch my diet. Like I'd normally get like coffee and cake and stuff like that, cafe stops on the bike. But last from like May onwards, I don't think I stopped at a cafe and had cake. Which for me is massive. Yeah, and then I'm always trying to eat healthy. Like I'll try and always eat loads of fruit and veg, and like good meat, and like I wouldn't eat like microwave meals and stuff like that. Like a lot of the stuff's used with like fresh ingredients and like home cooked. So yeah, like the diet is massive. Like I can notice.
And do you have anything special that you do in race week, in the sort of the few days leading up to the race? Do you do anything funky with like depleting carbs and rebuilding them, or what do you do in the last few days?
No, I don't do anything like that. I just make sure like the last couple of days I just take in a lot more carbohydrates.
Yeah.
And then the day before, like definitely a lot more. Like I remember the night before, I had so many carbs. Like I think I was like sweating. I said, "Look, I got like carb sweats or something." But yeah, and then like a load of carbs in the morning.
It's like Joey from Friends, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think I could add any more carbs. I think I'd like potatoes, pizza, rice. It was like a massive carb fest.
Oh, how an Ironman parties, hey? Here's an interesting one. Liam Perry says, how do you keep the flies out of your face without wearing glasses on the bike? Is that something that bothers you?
No, I don't even notice them there, for that race. But yeah, when I'm riding around the countryside here in England, I'll wear sunglasses because there's loads of flies, isn't there? But I don't even notice it out there. And to be honest, I can't really put my sunglasses on with the helmet what I've got, and I don't like wearing a visor because it just feels like it gets all sweating and it's quite hard to see where you're going. And I just find it a bit like annoying, really. But I can't fit the sunglasses on, so I've just got used to it, I think.
So it is what it is.
Yeah.
William Galvin says, sub-8 at Roth and a strong performance in Kona previously. Does Joe think he can get a top 5 in October?
Yeah, I think I'm definitely capable of it. It'll be tough to do it, but it's definitely something what I'm gonna like train for and hopefully try and achieve.
Nice. Neil Price says, how on earth do you fuel a bike and run that fast without ending up hooked up to a glucose drip at the end?
I think, to be honest, you don't need many more carbs than what someone who's going a bit slower would, because your RER, respiratory exchange ratio, is probably pretty similar. So you probably say if I'm riding at like, I don't know, 80% of FTP and someone else is riding 80% FTP, my power might be a bit higher, but we might be burning, if you're well trained, similar carb fat ratio. I think you can train it, and obviously it will vary a little bit depending on the individual, but it could be pretty similar, so it might not vary that much. But I do take quite a lot of carbs per hour, which I'm not sure if a lot of people can can consume. Like, I think I had about 90 on the bike. Which,
is that 90 grams an hour?
I think it was around 90 grams of carbs an hour, which I think is at the upper end.
Yeah, that'd put you at like 360, 380 calories an hour, wouldn't it? Something like that.
Yeah.
So that's obviously part of it. It's having the engine that can process that fuel so quickly, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think like that's why some people I think blow up in Ironmans, don't they? And like struggle in it because they can't get the carbs in what they need. But I mean, I seem to be able to take it easy. I actually felt a bit hungry towards the end of the bike, and luckily I had a strong energy drink as I was running out of T2 on the run, which got me some like carbs in straight away. And then I just took my gels. I took 4 gels with me at the start of the run and just tried to have one about every 15 to 20 minutes. And then got another strong energy drink about halfway on the run, and then had a couple of gels and some energy drink at the aid stations.
So you were pretty much just trying to run on fumes and just get the minimum in on the run because you're trying to run so hard, I guess.
I was trying to get a decent amount in, and that's a lot more than what I have taken in the past, which I think is why I didn't fade so much as what I have done in the past, because you can start running out of carbohydrates and then the pace just goes and you feel you're not really breathing that hard, but you just feel like you can't push it, don't you? I mean, you know what I mean, don't you? It's quite hard to explain, isn't it? But you just feel low on energy, don't you? Really, just generally low, yeah.
Yeah, and of course, the faster you're trying to run, the harder your body finds it to process those carbs. So that's something that you've obviously trained in your training, and it's a good sign, man. If you're starting to be able to process more on the run,
the flavours help what I'm taking as well. Because
are you sponsored by Talk now? Are you on the old rhubarb and custard gels?
Yeah, exactly. And they taste really good. So you actually look forward to having them. So yeah,
they are nice, man. They were Hamish's favourite as well. He used to break a few of those out for me occasionally.
Yeah, they're awesome. They are rhubarb and custard, raspberry ripple. So yeah, I actually really like them, which I think makes a massive difference. And it's definitely something I'd recommend to other people is to find some nutrition which you actually like to take, because you need to take a lot of it. And in the past I found it hard to get it down because you're like, oh god, I don't know if I can stomach another gel, and you just don't eat them, do you? You just don't have enough of them and you run out of energy.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to enjoy taking it if you're going to get it down, and God knows after like 6 or 8 hours out there, anything else looks appealing, doesn't it, rather than what you brought with you?
Yeah, definitely.
Right, I've lost my place on my page now. Andy Rudder says, ask him if he regrets not doing Ironman UK and choosing Roth instead. Does he believe he missed an opportunity to win Bolton in 2016? I understand Roth's a faster course, but in your honest opinion, do you think you could have won UK this year?
Oh no, I'm pleased.
Tough one to answer that, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm pleased I did Roth just as a change, because I'd been to Ironman UK last 3 years. But I do feel like I've been there last. Trying to think what it was. Yeah, I've been there last 3 years, so it was nice to do Roth as a change. Although I do feel like I've got unfinished business at Ironman UK, having been second in 2014 and third twice. But I mean, I couldn't really say that I think I could have won it, because the guy did a faster time than what I've done on that course before. So it would be unfair to say that you think you can win it, and you can never really say that, because you don't know how the race unfolded, the tactics. There's so many variables, isn't there? I mean, I thought I was going to win Ironman UK every time I've been to it in the past, and I haven't.
Yeah.
So I mean, of course, I think I could have won it this year, but I went into it in 2015 with that attitude, and I got third. So, like, fair play to the guy that did win it, and. It's just, you can't really say that. I mean, other people might have looked at Roth and thought, God, Joe Skipper got second, I've beat him loads. Like, I could have got second, but it's different, isn't it, when you're there on the day, you know? Like,
you can only race who's there, can't you?
Yeah, exactly, and that's why we all race, isn't it? Just prove who is the best on that day.
Andy Heap says, how much faster could you have gone if you didn't have to do the whole ride solo?
Oh, you could go a lot faster if you were in a group that were working together. A lot, I think. I don't know. It's hard to put a number on it, but it would have been a lot faster, because you'd have gone a lot faster on the bike, and you'd have been a bit fresher for the run as well.
Yeah, it's the whole doing the whole thing solo is really tough, isn't it? Without anybody to take a turn in front of you.
Yeah, definitely. You just literally just in the zone the whole time.
You know what's nice though is you've got a directly comparable thing to Frodeno there, haven't you? We know he was out front the whole day, on his own. So I kind of like that mano a mano version of it.
Yeah.
Right, let's have a look. We've already covered Matt Jackson's question on what nutrition you use. Joe Spraggin says, how did you celebrate? Did you sink a few beers?
Yeah, I did have a couple of beers after the race, actually. Went to a restaurant. There was a load of us out there. There was that actually. Torsten Rad joined us as well. The stats man.
Good old Torsten, stats man.
He came out. There was my girlfriend Laura, my friend Lee, who was racing my dad, and then the family who I stayed with in Germany. Like the homestay came out, and we went to this like proper German restaurant. Had a couple of German beers. It was really nice.
Good stuff. Ash Stewart says, did you really ride 89% of FTP the whole way, or do you need to update your threshold level in Training Peaks?
Yeah, I think I need to probably update it.
I like that. You keep the numbers private, hey?
Well, that was what I thought. It was pretty close to my threshold like a few weeks ago, but maybe I'm sandbagging a bit in training.
All right, and finally we've got one here. A bit of a controversial question to end on. Alistair Horrobin says there were some comments on Facebook. Will Clark mentioned a few things. Do you think the course was short?
You know what? I knew this question was going to come. Yeah, like I'll be honest. I think the bike course was a little bit short. I think I had about 170, like 8.3 or 4, something like that. So a little bit. And then the run was about 400 meters, I think. But I've done so many courses, and they've been short. Like the New Zealand one, the bike was about half a kilometre long, but the run was short. Barcelona, the bike's a little bit short. Austria, if you look online, the bike and the run short there. Frankfurt, the run short. If you look on like People's Strava, it's a good 400 or 500 meters short. But I mean, what Ironman is accurate, you know. I think it's so hard to get them bang on, because unless you want to kind of ruin a course by doing a tacky little dog leg towards the end to add on an extra 600 or 700 meters, they just look a bit like you just kind of race on that course, don't you? And they
couldn't agree more.
I mean, they say, don't they, like within like a certain percentage, and I think the percentage has got to be like quite low to make it so you can't do a course which is 10k short. But,
well, do you know what? Years ago, it used to be that the percentage was 5%. I'm not sure that that's still true, but I remember back in the day looking at it. I had friends who raced Roth, and it used to be even shorter than it is now. It used to be closer to 176.
Yeah.
From what people told me, and they said that there was this 5% number, which I think 5% of 180 is about 4.5k. So you know, the France course is about 176k. And I tell you what, there's nobody rolling back into transition areas wishing they'd had an extra 4 kilometres on the bike.
And that's the thing. Like, I mean, Texas, the bike course was about a kilometre short, and everyone there doesn't say anything. But I mean, even if it hadn't been, it was similar distance to what Roth was. But then in Texas, I went 10 minutes quicker or 11 minutes quicker for less power. Like that course in Roth, if you do it properly, like by yourself, it's not as fast as some of them courses like Florida. I mean, there's 1,500 meters of climbing on the Roth course, and there's 2,000 Ironman UK, so there's not a massive amount less.
It's 3/4 of the climbing,
exactly.
Isn't it?
It's honestly, I struggle to see how people say it's as quick as what it is. I mean, some quick times go there, but that when you've actually rode that course and you see what times they've done, you've rode on it on the same day, it blows your mind, because I've done Florida, and I've rode way faster than what I did there for less power. There's only like 500 or 600 meters in Florida on the bike. That is a world record course, because at that time of year, the weather's cool, the run course is pan flat, the bike course is mega fast. Same with Texas. You get Texas in good weather, it would be a lot faster. There's quite a few. Austria, I think that would be, I haven't done that, but from looking at it, that'd be at least similar or quicker. There's a lot of courses. But yeah, I mean, it is a little bit short, but then so are so many others. And the thing is you just at the end of the day, you race who's there, don't you, on the day? And what else can you do?
That's right. And it sounds like the guys who were around you on this day, really, the fact you were chasing Nils Frommhold down until half a mile to go, they've really brought out the best in you as an athlete on the day and given you someone to chase down, all the way from having Cyril Viennot on the run at the start of it to chase down. it was the perfect setup for you to actually have a fast race, wasn't it? And it wasn't like it was a time trial where you're out there in front the whole day. You were out there racing people. So I think good on you, mate. It was a really good, honest performance, that.
Yeah, it was. I'll just have to get a bit quicker. So when I do the next time I do a fast course, and then there'll definitely be no questions asked then.
Good stuff.
But,
all right, mate. Listen.
One thing though, like if anyone thinks they're short and they want to take the time, then they're happy to go to Roth and try and take it off me. It would just fuel my motivation, and that's just what I need to try to push myself even harder. So yeah, I'm happy to go there in 2017 and go under 7 hours 50 to give me something to aim for. I'd love that, you know.
Brilliant. And that's what we need, isn't it? We need another, like, we need Will Clark to come out. And I know he said he went to Brazil looking for a really fast time. He told us when we interviewed him he was after a sub-8 time as well. So if he could go and do sub-8 and you two could egg each other on, man, imagine if you could race head to head. That'd be amazing.
I'd be well up for it, you know. Like, I love that kind of thing, and I bet he does as well. So yeah, I'd be well up for it.
So will you go back to Roth next year, do you think?
Oh yeah, I reckon I will do. I said that before the race. Like even before the race, I said to Laura and I said to my dad, I think I'm definitely going to come back here and do this next year because the atmosphere was awesome. The organisation is amazing. And apparently the race gets in touch with 4,000 German houses to like put people up, like media, age groupers racing, professionals. Everyone gets involved in that whole area. It's an amazing atmosphere, and they really embrace it. Like all the locals come out and they want a volunteer. They like there's a waiting list to actually become a volunteer for that race because they all want to get.
Is that right?
Yeah, because they all want to get involved in it. It's unbelievable, Rob. Like you've said, you've signed up for it twice. You need to get out there and experience it because it is definitely the best race I've ever done. The expo is like bigger than Kona as well, which says something about it.
Oh, you're firing me up. Entries open on Monday. Well, they won't do. By the time people listen to this, it'll have opened and shut again.
Going up the Solarberg, you just can't help but push it because it's just electric. It's amazing. It's unbelievable.
Oh, you made me want to go and race there, Joe.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to next year already.
You're going to get me in a lot of trouble with my missus, and Helen's going to get annoyed at me talking about wanting to go to Roth for the next 6 months like she did about me wanting to do Triathlon X this year. All right, mate, listen, let's wrap it up. Thank you very much for your time, mate. It's been brilliant talking to you, and congratulations. All of the fans over here have been buzzing, and Twitter and Facebook has been going mental.
Can I just say thanks to everyone for all the support I've received after the race. It's been absolutely amazing. I never realised that so many people followed me and just wished so many good things about me, and I really appreciate it. I saw all the messages and everything, but it's just so hard to reply to them individually. So I just want to say, if anyone's listening to this, thanks ever so much, and I really appreciate it. It's great to have all that support.
Oh, that's brilliant, man, and we look forward to watching you hit that top 5 in Kona this October.
Cheers, thanks so much.
All right, buddy.